What a piece of junk!
Welcome to Bad Gear, the show about the world's most hated audio tools. Almost 70 videos in, it is a shame that I haven't covered any Casio gear on this channel yet. And we are going to break that curse with what is one of the oddest looking pieces of gear I've ever had the pleasure to review. The 2015 Casio Trackformer XW-PD1 Groovebox. Casio gear is loved by many, but it is not exactly considered to be high-end. A G-Shock ain't no Submariner, and it doesn't need to be. While the synth department did build a few flagship instruments like the HT6000, their most iconic products remind us of science class, the toy section of an Asian department store, and an innovation study from an alternate timeline of Back to the Future. The Ferrari-wrapped Trackformer builds on this tradition. It combines elements of a DJ controller, a future retro revolution, an MPC, and maybe they already had the clickbait titles of aspiring YouTubers in mind, Han Solo's Millenium Falcon. At the first glance, the Casio Trackformer XW-PD1 is ticking all the boxes. Archive-style drum pads, a circular sequencer, built-in FX, and many loops, sounds, and sequences. I can't say for sure, but I do believe that the sounds are sample-based, mono, and the only way to tweak them is to apply one of the aforementioned built-in FX algorithms.
We interrupt this program for an important announcement.
Sorry for being so vague, but the Trackformer can be a confusing instrument, and information on it is scarce. I'm no stranger to dubious product documentation, but the Groovebox comes with two equally useless manuals. Casio started producing a series of tutorials of high quality, but stopped after one episode. The best source of information I could find is provided by this guy, and I wanna buy him a beer. He also has a nice video on how to change the brake pads on a 1991 Toyota Previa. However, it might not have been the last time you have heard me say, I can't say for sure, but I do believe. You can use the unit for sampling from a line source or microphone, slice samples to the pad's MPC style, and please leave a comment if you figured out how the freeze function works. Sampling is limited to 4 long and 32 short samples, and I can't say for sure, but I do believe that there is no envelope or editing functionality. There are a few hands-on controls, first and foremost the very strange value knob that continuously increases or decreases the chosen parameter when it is not at the noon position, a crossfader that can be assigned to scratch, pitch bend and an effects parameter, and another crossfader for mixing the internal tones with an external sound source. MIDI over USB works great, but there is no 5-pin MIDI. It's nice to have 2 separate controls for the FX section, but you have to sacrifice drum pads in your banks to activate it. I can't say for sure, but I do believe that the 4-track sequencer works with a fixed quantization, and the pattern length is limited to 16 steps. You can define 4 sequences of patterns called pattern groups though. The UI of the Trackformer heavily relies on menu diving, and it's not bad for a first prototype. Many essential features like FX routing are hidden in the traumatizing abyss that is the settings menu, and after messing around with the Maximizer Master effect for a bit, I suddenly lost interest in trying the Master EQ, Noise Gate and Stereo Enhancer. The unit can be battery powered, there's a built-in speaker, and build quality is plasticky but decent. I have no complaints about the editor software, and you can switch to a MIDI controller mode. Speaking of controllers, the black Trackformer is a DJ controller without internal sounds. Casio Trackformers of the Groovebox kind were originally sold for $3.99 US, and after monitoring the local classifieds for a month, I bought the first XW-PD1 I could find for €160. The Casio XW-PD1 seems like an innovative instrument. Why are there so many people who hate it, like it can't make the Castle run in less than 12 parsecs? You have already heard the Trackformer in our little intro tune. Not bad. Let's listen to some of the very 2010s sound in this Groovebox only jam. find it fascinating how dated 5-year-old sounds can be. The tones of the Trackformer have a strong focus on trap, footwork and the DJ guy from Slipknot. The feature set of the unit is impressive, but can it hold up in a real-life situation with a turntable hooked up to the external input, playing some relaxing sounds of nature?
You're listening to Bad Gear.
Well, I can't say for sure, but I do believe that the CPU of the unit is not up to the task. Degradation of the incoming audio signal, lagging controls, messed up timing and choppy sample playback are only some of the most obvious flaws when you push the unit to the limit. I even double-checked levels and signal path. What is more, I've seen machines that allow for a more intuitive workflow. When I was doing research using the only reliable source of information on the internet, Urban Dictionary, I stumbled upon a genre that is made entirely with Casio gear, Casiocore. It is named after a band whose records I couldn't find, and all the acts associated with that style sound completely different from each other. So I took the liberty to polish some of the Trackformer sound to create my own take on phase-distorted CC101 leftover Casio Plextro core house. Verdict. The Casio Trackformer XW-PD1 is an instrument that I really wanted to like. Not only because of the lawsuit-evoking looks, but also because it would be great to see the long list of features well implemented in a modern-day groovebox. Unfortunately, it is struggling with problems similar to the other circular sequencer-based groovebox we have reviewed on Bad Gear, the Zoom ARQ AR48 Aero Rhythm Track. Innovative ideas held back by inconsistent execution, early abandonment of the product, questionable choices when it came to cutting corners, and a name worthy of an 80s action movie killer robot. What is more, the sound selection seems to be an untweakable hodgepodge of Casio classics, generic general MIDI fragments, and sounds for genres I totally forgot about. Okay, you might want to stick to the obvious Millenium Falcon metaphor, and yes, the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy certainly had its flaws, but I wouldn't associate ludicrous speed with the XW-PD1, especially not its CPU or workflow. Business decisions can be mysterious. Bringing a groovebox to the market is laborious and costly, and I never understood why so many companies produce promising products and mess it up in the finish. The Trackformer could have been a great instrument. Instead, Casio decided to waste their R&D investment and compromise the trust of their customers. I know, it's not easy to get the software side of a groovebox right. Still, I can't say for sure, but I do believe that in a time where people like Payan or the Shaman can single-handedly create vastly improved firmwares for music tech products in their spare time without any support from the manufacturer, a multinational corporation like Casio with its 11,193 employees should be able to achieve similar results. Thanks for watching and see you next time! Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment what other kind of gear you would like to see and hear on the show.